Hey everyone, it's Michelle Alexandria here with a review recap thingy for the 100 Season 4 Episode 4. The 100 is a show that I love to hate, I suppose. I told you I rage quit it last year, but last night I actually watched the last 3 episodes of Season 4 in a marathon, and I actually have to say I'm enjoying Season 4 so far. The Bellar crap aside, and I'll get to that in a different rant at some point, I actually think Season 4 has actually been pretty solid so far. The problem with Season 4 is the fact that the writing is so heavy-handed and ham-fisted and repetitive. It just feels like the show is starting to stagnate a little bit. And I understand what writer Jay Roth wants to do. He wants Clark to kind of sit in Jaha's shoes, where she has to make the heavy decision about who to tell the truth to, how much of the truth the audience and the public deserve to know, versus how much she needs to keep close to her vest, and what's the price of keeping that truth. Those were the same issues that Jaha faced when her father got floated and Clark got thrown in prison. And now we find Clark making the exact same decisions Jaha made. And I get it already. I don't need 3 or 4 episodes with this point being driven home. And last night was another example of that, where there were 3 main themes for last night. It was basically Clark trying to make a list of 100 people, trying to determine which 100 people in the entire world is going to end up living in her sanctuary, and also trying to figure out whether or not she should tell the truth about that 100 list. So she makes her list, she hides the list. Jasper and Monty find the list, and basically they are really understandingly upset that once again Clark is trying to decide who's going to live, who's going to die. There's a moment, the entire episode was just frustrating because of it. There is a moment where Clark was putting together the list, and Bellamy was like, no, I'm not going to be on the list, I want to be outside. And Clark's like, no, you're coming with me, I need you. And goddamn, that was driving me nuts. What kind of world does Bellamy get to constantly live? He drives me effing nuts. And the worst thing about the list was the fact that Clark left Monty off the list. She put Jaha and Bellamy on the list. Jaha and Bellamy on the list while leaving Monty off. And I'm like, what kind of world is this? Monty's been with her every step of the way. Monty's the one who came up with all the technical expertise that saved their butts over and over and over again, yet Clark decides to screw him. And her explanation made no sense, because her explanation was pragmatic, where she was like, oh, well, I'm sorry, Monty, but you're young and you're not as experienced an engineer as Jaha is. And I was like, wait a second, Jaha has never done anything. He may be an experienced engineer, but he hasn't helped them at all since they've been on the ground. He's destroyed everything, while Monty used his engineering skills to actually save everyone. Yet that's her excuse? And I'm like, come on, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. And Jasper was irritating. When are they going to kill him? I understand he was basically the comic relief last night, and I understand what they were trying to do. J. Ross said that one of the issues he had with last season was the fact that he thought it was too dark and there was no comedy in it. So he wanted to bring Jasper back to season 1 Jasper, but the way they're doing it feels half-baked or something. So while all of this is going on, Luna shows up on Arcada's doorstep. It seems like the radiation is really coming a lot quicker than everyone thought, and the fish in the sea, so Luna's people are basically all died off because they ate irradiated fish, and now she wants the Arcadians to actually try to save them. We later discover that Luna's black blood may be the way to save them. So basically Abby, Raven, and a bunch of people head off to go to Allie's mansion or hidden bunker to try to figure out a way to reverse engineer Luna's black blood and hopefully save everyone. So that's everything that's going on in Arcadia. Meanwhile, back in Polis, Octavia and the Sky Crew are messing things up in Polis once again. Ambassador is plotting to overthrow Roan, and he's not even being subtle about it. He's walking around he's walking around Polis telling anyone who's listening, hey, I'm going to challenge the king. I'm going to challenge the king and I'm going to kill him and we're going to take over Polis and blah, 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 blah. And you're sitting there going, wait a second, is this guy a fool? There's no way this is going to end well for him. They're trying to convince Roan not to fight the guy, and Roan's like, I'm the king, I got to fight him. Octavia, of course, decides to take matters into her own hands because she's an Archer, and Archers don't give a damn about rules. Rules don't matter to them. So she goes off and kills the ambassador, stabs him in the ear, and you see some blood coming out. And it's a clean kill because then when everyone finds out about it, it basically sparks a war. Roan kidnaps Bellamy and some other unnamed guy, I think it was Brian actually, and brings them to Polis to find out what's going on in Arcadia. Brian tells them everything. Roan is not a happy camper because he feels like rightly that Clark lied to him, and that the only way, and that Clark is once again trying to save her own damn people at the expense of the Grounders, and that they now have their own lifeblood, and he fears that the Sky Crew are going to have their own ascension program without involving him, which breaks their agreement. So once again, we're going to have war between Askeda and Sky Crew. And Roan says, that's enough. I'm done with you. We're at war. And he locks Bellamy up. He locks Bellamy and Kane up. And then what happens is Octavia jumps on a horse and goes to Arcadia to try and warn them, but she encounters Echo, and there's a great fight between Echo and Octavia, and Octavia gets stabbed and falls off the cliff, and we're like, no, Octavia's dead. I was so hoping that would happen, because it's been 4 episodes. It's about time for there to be some death, for some bodies to start hitting the floor. I mean, I know we have a kind of gentler J-Roth than the 100 this season, but yeah, it's time for some bodies to hit the floor. So I actually thought Octavia is going to be dead, but the very next scene, no, she's not dead. But Echo doesn't know this, so Echo is forced to tell Bellamy that, Octavia is dead. So we get the moment where Bellamy has a nervous breakdown and crying. It's a great scene. And Bob Morley acts the hell out of it. But the problem is, I don't care about Bellamy. I think Bellamy deserves every ounce of pain he gets. So it's hard for me to really feel any pity for Bellamy in that moment. But Bob Morley does an amazing job with that scene. So yeah, that's pretty much how the episode ends, with Roan marching on Arcadia, Bellamy having a breakdown. And the other problem with this is, it once again, quote unquote, proves Bellamy right. Proves that Bellamy was right in attacking and killing 300 innocent Grounders. Because from his point of view, it always leads back to war. But they never effing accept any responsibility for their role in the Grounders always being upset with Sky Crew. And that is my issue with this show. There's absolutely no balance whatsoever. Just once, when there's war that's going to happen, that Sky Crew actually admits fault, and then maybe they could talk. I mean, all of this could have been avoided if Clark had a simple conversation with Roan explaining what was going on with Luna and everything else. Instead, it's all being done behind their back. So when Roan finds out, of course he's going to be upset. Of course he's going to feel betrayed. He's not going to believe them. And all of this could have been resolved if they just had one simple conversation. Of course, we wouldn't have had a show. It feels like this show is running around in circles and eating itself because it's not progressing. It's repeating the same mistakes and the same actions from the last 3 seasons. Now, at some point, they need to get off this circular train or circular fire squad they're doing and work with each other. So then next week, based on the trailers, is basically going to be Roan outside the gates of Arcadia, get ready to go to war, and of course Clark is going to go give him his puppy dog eyes and go, oh, give us a chance, and once again they're going to skate by. But at some point, Sky Crew needs to take responsibility for their actions and the fact that they keep bringing the Grounders down and keep bringing them to the brink of war. It's kind of mutual, but it's more their fault at this point. Try not to do a full-on rant, but yeah, last night's episode, I'm kind of enjoying this season, but it's a struggle. It's still a struggle to get to. It's a show that is just beautifully shot, beautifully filmed, I wish the season that we have now was last season, and last season never happened. Because if last season never happened, then this season actually would be a lot better and a great follow-up to season 2, actually. Because then we can actually see why Bellamy feels the way he does. Instead, basically everything that happened last night was basically just validating everything Bellamy did last year. So why do I care about a character like that? That's the 100 season 4 episode 4, and the title of the episode was called A Lie Protected. See what they did there? A lie protected. So that's it. See you all next week. Bye.